Hello guys, welcome. Before I begin, I would like to remind you to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I would really appreciate it. Alright, so today I'm sharing a tasty recipe. I'm making fajitas de nopales. Nopales are the petals or leaves of a prickly pear. They're delicious and also really good for you. They contain a lot of important vitamins and nutrients. And nopales are indigenous to Mexico. They play an important part in Mexican history and food culture. Also, fun fact, you can spot nopales on the Mexican flag with an eagle perched on it eating a snake, and there's a really interesting Aztec story behind the meaning. So yeah, this cactus plant has a lot of history, and nopales can be cooked in many ways. You can make smoothies, you can fry them, boil them, or grill them like I'll be doing today. So if you're interested in this fajita recipe, let's begin. Let's begin with the fresh prickly nopales. My mom has plenty in her backyard, so I usually get them from her. But you can find nopales in the produce section at Mexican grocery stores. Depending on the store, nopales will already be cleaned, but sometimes they come with thorns. Not to worry though, because they're really easy to remove. This is how I cut the thorns off the nopales. I place them on a counter or a cutting board. I like to hold the nopales down with a fork and a knife in my other hand, and I begin to cut the thorns off in a sweeping motion going away from me, and I do this to the entire surface. Also, this is pretty easy because the knife just sweeps them off, and once you've done one side, you want to flip it and do the same to the other. Also, I remove the thorns on the edges by cutting them off. And once you've removed all of the thorns, you want to rinse the nopales, and then they should look something like this. And be careful when you're cleaning your counter. I usually sweep the thorns and all the little prickly stuff into my trash bin with a newspaper. This next step is optional. I thought I'd try something different, so I combined a few spices to rub over the nopales to give them a nice red color and added flavor. In a little bowl, I mixed in paprika, cayenne pepper, salt, onion, and garlic powder. Then I rubbed the spice blend over the nopales with a little bit of water so it could stick. Now on to the grilling. Ideally, I would have done this outside with my barbecue grill, but I didn't have propane when I recorded this, so I did it over my stove with a very hot cast iron skillet. Over a medium-high flame, I placed my nopales in the skillet and allowed them to cook. After about 10 minutes, I flipped them and cooked them on the other side. Then I removed them and set them aside while I cooked a few portobello mushrooms the exact same way. And I just love the way grill marks look on food, which by the way, you can speed this process up by placing foil paper over them and laying something really heavy to press down on the food, giving you nice grill marks. These vegetables are a must when making fajitas. Starting from the left, I have a white onion, a green bell pepper, as well as a red bell pepper, which I cut into strips. Also, I minced garlic. Then I fried it with a little bit of oil for a few seconds over a medium flame. Then I added the sliced onion. I also sprinkled a pinch of salt and cooked them until they browned. And since my frying pan wasn't big enough, I had to set them aside, and then I added the bell pepper strips and cooked them in the exact same way. I then combined the onions with the bell peppers and I set them aside. Going back to the grilled nopales and portobello mushrooms, I'm gonna cut them into strips about the same size as the peppers and the onions. And to give it a more authentic fajita flavor, I'm gonna add my favorite flavoring, which would be vegan bouillon, of course. I turned on the flame to a low medium and I added a scoop of vegan vegetable bouillon. Also, the vegan chicken flavor is amazing if you haven't tried it. So yeah, I just warmed up my pan and added a little bit of it, and then I placed the nopales and the mushrooms straight over the bouillon, and I mixed them in well, ensuring that they get a nice coat of it because they are sort of acting like the meat in this dish. I combined all of the vegetables and turned off the flame. The fajitas are ready to go, but I'm gonna set them aside in the meantime while I introduce you to my adorable piggy, molcajete, which is made with volcanic rock. It's used to grind spices, to make salsa, as well as guacamole, which is exactly what I'm gonna make right now. So in my molcajete, I'm gonna add 1 avocado, and I'm gonna mash it with the tejolote or the pestle. Then I'm gonna add diced onion, diced serrano peppers, and tomato, and I'm gonna mix everything in while mashing it lightly. Also, I added a little bit of fresh lime juice as well as salt. And sadly, I didn't have cilantro, so I had to skip that. But that's it, just like that, you have an amazing guacamole, and this will taste amazing with the fajitas. And this is my fajitas de nopales arrangement. Be sure to warm up tortillas to enjoy the fajitas. Also, I love a side of refried beans for this dish. So here I'm scooping a few tablespoons of pinto beans onto my plate, followed by the delicious fajitas, and that's it, guys. This is such a tasty meal. If you're curious to try nopales but aren't sure how to eat them or cook them, you should try this savory recipe. You're gonna love them. And when making this dish, I like to make tacos out of my fajitas with beans and a scoop of guacamole. Seriously, bomb. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this recipe. As always, thanks so much for watching. Until the next one.